This is where I had my windmill, my little mini Mexican breakfast. Yeah. You can see how that's what I was talking about. Was bamboo is at about the right angle. That's the idea, man. I'm gonna get that thing up there come hell or high water. I basically convinced myself that there was a good chance I wouldn't make it.
We're starting here, starting right now. 1, 2, 3. We breathe it in. We feel our hearts, they're pounding. Rising up to feel the fire dance wild through our veins. We take a chance and know we'll never be the same. Giving it all we got, giving it all. Giving it all we got. Oh, climbing up to the top of the world. No fear, we're gonna make it. Everything we want is ours.
Hey, where you going? Where you going? Meow, meow. Well, it is another brisk morning here on the Thai farm. Yeah, it's kind of cold. This must be those cold days that were predicted. And those don't quite look like rain clouds, but it's the whole sky is full of clouds. So maybe that's the one that's the cold front coming in, moving all these clouds in, and it's almost like dark out when the sun has already come up. I'm sure behind the trees over here I should see it, but I can't see it because it's not there. And the only reason it's not there is because those clouds are there. I think it's time for my breakfast, man. Breakfast in my Thai house. I don't know, where am I having breakfast?
Up to you.
Over here. I'll take my breakfast under the cabana. No. No. He tries to outdo me every morning. Oh my God. You can see all the fish sparkling out there. It's a lone worker tending to his rice. This area here, man, it was full in previous videos. It was full of the lilies that were growing, starting to bloom or whatever. And then, I don't know, they just disappeared. Kind of moved out here a little bit, but these all disappeared, so I don't know what happened over there. Obviously, we have a few more over there, but makes me wonder if they're, if they're like short-term in terms of their growth. Like they grow and they die and grow some more somewhere else. What's up, guys? You think I'm gonna give food? So I'm standing here, but I'm not. I'm just gonna have my little my little mini Mexican breakfast. Yeah. Some avocado tortilla salsa and some cheesy eggs with bacon. It is dark, man. Usually it's quite bright right now. Alright, man, well, let me get my breakfast in and I'll tell you how I almost died. Alright, back at you. Delicious. And so was my breakfast. So, in the continuing saga of my life here on the Thai farm, when I say I almost died, it wasn't because of an accident or an injury. I know what you're thinking. What did he do? But the reality is, it was just I suppose a related health issue that I've had since a child, which is really just asthma. I mean, I had child onset asthma, so I had these asthma issues, but after 10 or 12 years old, I never had asthma issues. I mean, many years ago, you know, a decade or more, no, probably even more than that, 15 years ago or so, when I lived on the island of Saipan, I was having major problems. I'd cough all night and cough myself awake, and you know, I wouldn't get any sleep, and I'd sneeze 1,000 times, and then went to the doctor 1,000 times, and you know, got 1,000 allergy tests, and none of that shit worked until, and I've told that story before, I think, where the young doctor was like, dude, you got post-nasal drip, you know, you're sleeping at night, your nasal passage drips down your esophageal airway like normal people, but yours gets irritated there and it chokes you out. And so that day he gave me the Flonase. He said, just, you know, squirt this up your nose like 15 times on each side before you go to bed. And he gave me an inhaler, Ventolin, and he just said, or albuterol, same thing really. So he just said, hit that like 15 times before you go to bed. And I did that, and at that time, I slept all the way through the night, slept like a baby, woke up, almost panicked because I had slept all night. I thought, what happened? But I felt great. And so I did that for about a week, and then, which is really weird because normally you think of hitting those inhaler like once or twice maybe, and then same with the spray. But I did that, and then I wound up weaning off of it, and then I really I didn't use the inhaler. I just would maybe hit the spray once or twice before bed, you know, a couple times a week or whatever. And eventually I didn't have to do it at all. I just ignored it for many years. Didn't even worry about it. And then I think maybe in California before we came here, yeah, I got the inhaler again because it was getting, my lungs would get, you know, exacerbated or whatever. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was too many bong hits or something, but I think it was really just, I was working a lot, remodeling the house, and so there was dust, a lot of, you know, dust that was like, you know, from tile work or plaster work and all this other stuff, that kind of, you know, atypical dust to get in my lungs and stuff. And so I'd get the inhaler or whatever. And actually I brought it with me to Thailand when I retired. I didn't worry about it too much, but then again, started working here, right? Did all the work, dust and this and that. Even though I wear a mask, it's still, you know, you still got issues. Dust is very micro particles, right? So it can pretty much get through masks unless you wear one of those big old masks that suck up, you know, nuclear shit or whatever. But it's hard to work with those. But anyway, so I've had a couple times where I like, oh my God, I can't breathe, man. So I'd hit the inhaler, boom, boom, you know, and or I'd hit it 4 or 5 times. I wouldn't worry about it, and then I'd be fine, you know. And one night I was coughing, and it was late. It was like 11 o'clock at night or something like that, and I was, oh my gosh, man, I can't breathe, you know. And then my inhaler ran out, or it was out. I had it, and I picked it up on way when I pumped it, and it was empty. I was like, oh shit, can't breathe. And so I was like, Dad, get up, we gotta go get to a pharmacy. And she's like, I don't know if they're open. I go, they're open. There's got to be one that's open. And so we, raced into town, and there was one that was open. But before we got to town, on the road, I kept coughing and I would cough out. I would cough out to where I couldn't breathe in. Right? It was like just ripping my lungs, and and I'd have to calm myself down and tell myself, breathe, breathe, breathe. I'd try and go through my nose or whatever, and I basically, I barely got there. I told myself I would have passed out, because if you hold your breath long enough, you'll pass out, right? So I basically convinced myself that there was a good chance I wouldn't make it to the place, and I told my wife that. I was like, honey, if I pass out here while I'm driving, you gotta grab the wheel, that kind of thing. Whew. But I got there, she ran over there and got it, and ran back, whatever, and I bam, 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 and I survived. But it was a very scary event, and I was like, shit, man. But and since then, I've always tried to keep one with me, or buy two of them, have them around, but more recently, I noticed that I was hitting it a lot, man. I was like, dude, I need, at night, I'd hit it 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 times, in the morning or in the middle of the night, and then it just seemed like I was hitting it all the time, and I couldn't barely breathe. And I'm like, fuck, this is messed up. That's not normal. It's not normal. And it's like, it's not working or whatever. So then I, of course, like any educated professional, I went to work on my research. And I read a million different studies and lots of good information about there. And what I realized is, and I remembered this maybe from I had a flashback from the very first time I went to the doctor on the island that helped me, which was that there are, 2 kinds of inhalers. There's this kind, which is a bronchodilator, Ventolin and albuterol and things like that. And then there is an ICS, or a corticosteroid inhaler, which is what I remembered I used to have, when I was first injured, basically, because that's what happens. You start coughing so much, you inflame this, and it's all rah. And so I was like, oh shit. So I started reading and reading. I realized that what I need is the steroid inhaler, the ICS. And so I started looking at what are the names of those, like in Thailand, because if many of you know, the drugs are not called the same thing they are in America, and many times. Why, I don't know. Maybe because different pharmaceutical companies call them something else, they brand them differently. But if it's the same actual drug, then anyway. So I actually, yesterday, I went to the pharmacy. I went to one pharmacy. There's like a bunch of them here, but I went to the one that we normally get my Ventolin from, and I asked them, do you have that's, I think it's salbutamol, or by normal name I think it's called Advair, or Advair, and then another one which was anyway, I don't know the names, but anyway, I had them on my phone, and I gave them to the guy. I was like, dude, bro, you got these? And the guy, the son spoke English actually quite well, fluently, I would say, almost. But he's like, nah, we don't have those. Not a lot of Thai people use the steroid one, and you might be better suited at the Bangkok hospital in Pitsanalok, and this and this. And I'm like, oh man, I can't be doing that. I'm dying over here. I need a steroid inhaler. And I go, well, what about this one? What about this one? No. And the dad's all, no. Oh, shit. So I walked down the street to the next one, which actually was one of the first pharmacies I always used to go to get aspirin. Over 80 milligrams. They'd give me the 300 one or whatever. And so I went in there, and, it's a very busy one, of course, again. And a young girl was there, spoke, enough English. I was like, hey, man, I showed her this. She goes, oh, yeah, we got that. And I go, yeah, I want the steroid one, the ICS. She goes, oh, yeah. And so she tells the other girl, look in the glass case across the way, and she's like this. And so there was one in there, and then I'll show it to you. And it was this one, which was Barodual. Barodual was, I remembered it as a kind of a mixed component. Like it had two different drugs and it was mixed. And but that it would work, it was better than, you know, my Ventolin. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that one. And then so she got it out, and then I walked over to the case myself, and then I saw this one, which was Serotyde. And this Serotyde is the salmeterol, 25 milligram and 125 or microgram of salmeterol and 125 microgram of fluticasone. This was the exact one I was looking for because it was a combination of these two different drugs that I had been familiar with and that I wanted as a corticosteroid for my lungs. This one is more on the bronchial dilator side, and, although it again it is mixed, and this one is on the corticosteroid side. And so, you know, ideally what you do is you use Barodual as a much better alternative to Ventolin, in my opinion. And this will go ahead and bronchodilate or open up, you know, my passageways of my lungs, or the very ends of your bronchi, which are the ones that get inflamed. This opens it up as much as it can, and then you may wait a few minutes, and then you hit this, which is the steroid one, which will get down in there and also on the outside, and it reduces the whole swelling. So working with both of these, 100% change in my ability to breathe, sleep through the night. I did it last night, slept like a freaking baby all night, did not wake up coughing, didn't cough. I I hit this, well, that was a cough, but it's because I'm choking on my coffee. But even then, when I cough right there, it's not that rasp, painful cough that I have. That's the old man cough from waking up early in the morning and talking too quick. But yeah, and the crazy thing is that this one right here, this thing's like, in America, this is over $300. This would have cost me $320 probably, without insurance in America. With insurance, it still would have been probably 80 bucks. But here it's like 10 bucks. Same with this one. This is the, you know, this is the equivalent of Ventolin or a bronchodilator, only it's stronger and it's mixed, and it has I'm just gonna say in America this would again been at least $200 or something like that. However, the good news on that for Americans is that this year most all of the pharmaceutical companies like GlaxoSmithKline and whatever, Pharma USA or something like that, they've all committed to capping the price of these. Because why? Because you'll freaking die if you don't have it. Even the simple inhaler like Ventolin, if you don't have it, you're gonna die. So the kids, the old people, you're gonna die, and they do die. And they probably realize this. So they decided to say, well, let's not rip people off on everything. So they capped the cost of these at $35, and that's with insurance or without insurance. So although GlaxoSmithKline, their cap doesn't start until next year, I think January 1st or something like that. But these guys started this about mid-year this year, but only this year. So although again, if you have insurance, you still have to claim your insurance and get this, or you have to inform them when you're getting it. Why? Because they're going to go ahead and bill the insurer, right? You're going to get it for 35 bucks, but they'll still bill the insurer for the 300 bucks or whatever. What a ripoff! And here they're 10 bucks. I don't know what the import deal is, but you know, I'd be inclined. You could probably buy 100 of these for 10 bucks here, take them to America and sell them for 20 bucks. Make a profit. But anyway, I'm thankful for that, and for these two, again, Serotyde and Barodual, I take this, bam, bam, in the morning, hold it for about 10 seconds, wait like 2 or 3 minutes for it to relax, maybe 4 minutes, and then boom, 2 of these, hold it again for about 10 seconds, and I just feel a lot better. And not so much, it's not like easier to breathe. Of course it probably is, but that's not what ever bothered me. Recently, when I'm choking and coughing myself, the pain of coughing, and I think I may even mentioned that in previous videos, now that I'm reflecting on that, the coughing, the movement of your esophageal airway going ripping out your throat and shit, that's what's the painful part. The steroid one, it's like any corticosteroid. Just like if you have shoulder pain, you go, oh, I need a shot. They give you a shot of corticosteroid, and then you're like, oh God, thank God I can move my arm and I don't feel the pain and stuff like that. That's the same for your lungs, so you don't feel that kind of pain. But for all intentional purposes, and again with my research that I keep reading, they did tests on these for like 200,000 or 300,000 people at a time, so they got some pretty good data out there if you want to research it. But I forgot what I was going to say, but anyway, yeah, I knew that. What the research was also saying was that after 65 years old, pretty much everybody has asthma. So yeah, it's good to have those around. Do you need to take 2 hits for the rest of your life? Probably not. There is plenty of data that I had read, and I probably read 1,000 pages. There's plenty of data to suggest that you just simply wean yourself off of it, until you have a problem. On the other side, there's data that's telling people that, yeah, you just, make it part of your deal so you don't have the problem. And you don't have, latent effects or adverse effects of weaning off of it and stuff. But in all the adverse effects, if you want to call them that, none of them were severe or debilitating or anything like that. So, and none of them really had exacerbated conditions after stopping. So, and that's kind of like what I did, as I just shared, right? So I had these kind of condition where it was super painful and I couldn't breathe a long time ago on the island. And then I fixed it, and then after I fixed it enough, I was like, I don't need this, and I didn't use it for another decade. So now, I've been working here for the last 3 years, right? And especially over here, this side over here, you got dust, so much dust coming up in there, it's not even funny. And I wrap my face and stuff and try to block it out as much as I can, but invariably it'll get in there, fills in my hair, and then if I go like that, dust just gonna come here and get in front of me or whatever. And most of the studies and the information out there was definitely saying that dust, heavy dust, construction dust, not good for asthma. I'd hate to die from suffocation. That would be a bummer. Choking yourself out. That time in the truck, man, I was, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to drive. I'm choking. And then, anyway, so yeah. Barrel Dual is a metered aerosol for bronchial asthma and bronchitis, of which I have never been diagnosed with. And Serotype, it doesn't tell you what it's for, because you're supposed to know that it's now, it went up from this to this. So 120 metered actuations, which is good. That means it has one of those, it has a counter on the back of it, so you'll know what you're doing there if you lose count. Although, wait a minute. I already hit this thing twice before I went to bed, and then twice in the morning when I woke up, and it's still at 120. So maybe I got some extra meter. And of course, each of these come with a book full of information by themselves. This one, oh yeah, this one isn't metered. Oh, it does say metered. Where's the number? It's good for 2 years from, this is the, what is that, November 3rd it was produced, and 28th of February 26. So that's like a good year or more. It says 200 meter doses for oral inhalation. Doesn't matter. I usually, with brand new, you know, shake it up and then you push it out, test it. Don't blow it in the mouth for that first hit. Anyway, my little non-professional medical information. Not really advice. We don't give advice here on the channel, but we do share information that may or may not be beneficial. This, the standard inhaler, Ventolin Evo inhaler, again 200 meters. This thing, I'll keep this in my truck, although for now anyway, but you don't want to store these when it gets real hot. You know, the max on these is about 30 degrees centigrade, so anytime during, you know, the Thai summer and stuff, you don't want to leave these outside. It diminishes the density of the blast, so I'll keep them in the fridge. Maybe that'll give me a little bit of a menthol hit. But with any luck, what I'm doing over here, I'm reducing the dust over here for construction, because now I've pretty much finished most of all the cement and stuff. But I do inhale from welding. That burning weld is that smoke. It's definitely not good to inhale. But you know, I try to avoid it, but invariably, again, you're going to be breathing it. You know, these are microparticles. You can't get away from that. So what's a fella to do? But today, what I am going to do is try to get that metal angle iron apex up on the top of those A-frames. Wish me luck with that one. Won't have to worry about inhalers when I'm lying on the ground with that thing chop my head off. Alright, man, well, hey, good morning. Hope you got some of that. And I get back at you with more over here. Bananarama. Hey, cat. Those are my fresh bananas I cut the other day. That's actually only 2 days, so yeah. Cut them just right. And as it is, I did not get to lift that nasty ass piece of metal today. Why, you ask? Because I didn't want to. No. Eat this banana. Mostly because I was sequestered to perform other duties by my wife. Not those kind, but she had a problem with giant bamboo that had kind of fallen down a little bit. It was really all the way over here, and she's worried, you know, oh, she had cut some, and so that's what kind of fell. But you know, I always say I don't want it coming so close to the house that you wind up, you know, having a snake be able to jump out, or rat or whatever. And we haven't had those issues, but I know they can do that. Those green tree snakes I ain't worried about, even though they can whoosh, they launch themselves from tree to tree. I've seen them, so they're pretty good about that. But anyway, it's huge pieces, 2, 3, 4 pieces of bamboo coming out almost to where I could grab it right here, you know. It was blocking this whole area. My wife was trying to cut little pieces and stuff. Anyway, so I took my webbing, my tow webbing, tied it to another piece of tow webbing, and I lassoed and threw the hook over the group of branches and brought it down, made a slip knot and pulled that thing tight. And then I launched it out this way and all the way across the lawn. But I didn't have enough, so I went to had to go to the, you know, my shop guy over there, and I got two pieces of rope that I'm gonna use for lifting that metal thing. But anyway, so I tied it here and I put my truck on that side and drove away with it twice. I had to do it twice and turned it and yanked it all this way, and it came flying over this way pretty good. But what it did do, I thought it would kind of go over it, but nothing I can do about it. Right here is where I had my windmill. You remember these guys? Well, pretty much just snapped that thing off like in a hurricane. So, and knocked the whole thing apart, man. I busted it up, but I've repaired this a number of times and I can do it again. That probably just fell right out of that hole, and that one fell out of that hole. I can put that together, man. Anyway, I snapped that thing. It didn't do anything to this because I made this real secure from before when I got all that wood last time. This is real, and the sides aren't major secure, but they are. Got it all screwed in, nailed in, and real firm in the ground, so I didn't have any problems. But it was all over this. My wife had to cut a bunch of this bottom off. It had this whole thing bent over like this, and yeah, but first I was in there cutting it with my chainsaw, my electric chainsaw, and you know, she was in there trying to help me, and I'm like, honey, you can't do that. You need to go do your other chores, do what you want to do. But you know, she's over there, she's holding on to the bamboo ends while I'm cutting on that end, and she's like bouncing on it, jumping on it like a swing. I'm on, that's not gonna work. As soon as this cuts loose, you're gonna ding. But anyway, there's still some of it over there, big old pile over there. So oh yeah, what she did do is she climbed that tree and started cutting some of those branches. And I was cutting this over there, I was dealing with this, and I knew she was up there, and I kept seeing branches fall, and then I didn't see any branches fall. It was all quiet over there. And I remember saying to myself, I stopped kind of what I was doing. I was like listening for her, you know, if she was saying something, or you know, waiting for her to fall out of the tree or whatever. But you know, it was only for a minute. I tried to listen. It was all quiet. I ignored it. Anyway, so she continued doing whatever she was doing, whatever. And then after it was all done, after I was done all that, later in the afternoon here, she's all, oh, I am. Look, and on both of her forearms, the one on the right has about a contusion about that big, you know, call that a tree burn. And the other side has a gouge about that big, because, you know, I tried to explain to her. Actually, I yelled up at her before when I saw some bigger branch coming. I go, hey man, don't cut them big old branches like that. You gotta cut small, go by me. So just like you do when you cut a tree, anybody who's cut a tree knows what happens. Backlash, right? You cut that tree and the whole weight of it flips it at a different angle or whatever. Well, sure enough, it fell right on her, and she tried to hold on to the other part of the tree, knocked her out of the tree kind of, and so she gouged her arm and busted up her arm, a big old raspberry on that arm, trying to hold on to not fall out of the tree. And didn't say a word, didn't scream or didn't say nothing, didn't let me know, because she probably knew that I'd be saying, I told you. Until later in the afternoon, I looked at it and said, oh, that's gonna hurt. And so she's got in the shower, put all betadine on it and all that stuff now. I know it hurts her, she won't say nothing. Anyway, so what I did do when I come over here, I did manage to cut off the bamboo and or cut pieces of bamboo, and you can see how that's what I was talking about. Was bamboo is at about the right angle, and I got it. It's clear over there, and I did the same on that one, and the same on that one. What I do have to do, I haven't done yet, is notch out the end so I'll be able to, you know, be able to lift this at the right angle. But I'm starting to think that it might pose a little bit of a more challenge than I wanted to, so I might have to have shorter bamboo actually on the inside right here, like, you know, underneath supporting that metal. But I don't want the metal to, I don't want to get directly underneath it, because then the metal can flip this way. I still have to maintain some kind of angle pushing that metal that way. So anyway, I got that done. It's helping there. That took a couple hours actually, and then I ate something, and then I had to go out to Global because I wanted to get the pulleys, or not pulleys, but the you know, the caster wheels for this. And you know, at first I went over to my shop over here, and I was working over there looking at that stuff, and we were playing with some metal, looking at it. I had the 2-inch wheels, and just wasn't going to be enough, so I got 3-inch ones, and it seemed like, you know, it seemed like the 3-inch ones didn't have enough of a gap. I was worried that, you know, it would blow off the track or whatever. I still might need to do something to fix that. But I bought these Japan guides, and I don't know, but I could lift this up like that. That's got to be 35 pounds on that. These things are treacherous heavy. Oh, and come on, man. Oh, yeah, it's a beast. But it comes and it's fully, you know, assembled. That's what I like about it. It's massively robust, so it should pretty much last forever. But anyway, that's the idea, man. Ooh. There you go, just like a train. And it's got the, you know, it's got these 3 holes here. So I got 2 of them. And the idea would be that I'm gonna put, you know, like what's that, the 2-inch square metal? Yeah, the square metal right there, and then bolt it through there. And then on the other side, on the other end, I'll turn it around so it's, you know, it's facing this way, so the metal's bolted through there. And I think having one of these flats on this side and the other one on the other side will be, you know, will help displace the energy or whatever more correctly. Those together, damn, man, that's heavy. And I was thinking, gosh, is that kind of heavy gonna mess it up? I went online and I looked at, you know, some similar designs, not quite like mine, but they have ones where the whole house sides move, you know, open, but it carries the whole house, and so the roof is like normal, and then it goes all the way down the side, and then the wheels are on the very bottom. So the rail is on the very bottom, supports like that, right? And then the house is supported like that, or the roof is supported like by the sides. But mine aren't like that. Mine is supported in the middle. So the 2 things hang kind of like a tightrope guy, where he's walking and he's holding the balance bar, teetering on both sides. So the idea is that the roof will not teeter on both sides, but it'll be hanging on that slope on that both sides, and then on the ends, when it gets, you know, when it gets to the end here, I just have a side guide, you know. Actually, I haven't even figured that part out yet, but I think that the way that I design it, it might even be that it just hangs at that angle, and that might even be enough. But you know, once I build the frame around it, right? So the idea is that I'm going to build another A-frame, not quite as robust as this, but it's basically just going to be up an A-frame like this, and then square back, and then another A-frame and square forward. Well, I'll have a square on the very front, but not the back, because the back, obviously, I can't move it. If I should do that underneath there. No, I can't do anything. I can't have a bar going across the back because it'll take out whatever, you know, I'm trying to move, right? So this roof cap has to be independent of everything on the inside, with the exception of the very front. I think because it's on the front, if I have it hung over just a little bit, like overhang just a little bit on the roof, then as it comes down, I can actually put a cross beam on this side of the hanging roof, which will give more stability to it, and then it can still just slide open. It just won't have a cross beam on that side. Or maybe I can put a cross beam on the inside a little bit, but if I do, that cross beam on the inside will have to stop right here. Maybe. If I just, I'd have to make it tight, you know, so that there's not a whole lot of overhang still left in this side. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But I got these. I wanted to make sure I didn't want to try and deal with that measuring and all that when it was already up there, because once I put this up there, I'm going to weld it in place, and so then I'm going to deal with this. And I think what I'm going to have to do is, you know, my process here, I was thinking, how am I going to assemble that thing if I can't get, you know, if I'm not going to be walking up there? I don't have scaffolding. I don't have another set of scaffolding. I could go buy another one. They're only like $1,500 for a whole set. But do I want to do that? I don't know. I don't think I need another second thing of scaffolding. Actually, I do if I want to do work on my house over here, but like towards the roof rafters or whatever, gutters or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I was thinking that I put those, that I'd assemble the center rod with the two wheels on it, right? Let me see. Yeah, this will work. So the idea was that I would use pipe like this, and I would use this to put, you know, right on there. Put one wheel at one end, one at the other end. Of course, this is just a short piece, but I'd buy another one like this, and a thicker one too, in terms of the gauge or whatever. So yeah, and then I would just bolt one on this end, you know, and bolt one at that end, and then I'd have that ready to go. And then what I would do is I would make this, okay, so I'm thinking this out right now, but so I got this piece, right? I would have this, and that would have the wheels on it, and I'm thinking, well, how am I going? I can't make the whole frame and make it happen. So then I thought, wait a minute, maybe if I have round pipe like this, you know, and the round pipe is that I basically just weld the round pipe, so it's got about maybe 10 inches on both sides, so it's an A-frame of 10 inches going down, 10 inches going down of pipe like this. And then once that's up on the top, once it's on the top, right? So you got if you can picture this, you got this square rail on the very top. and you got pipes off the ends, right? Little pipes off the ends. Then what I would do is, like, just like you assemble a tent, I would make the bottom pieces like assembly, and I'd stick another pipe up into that hole. And maybe I could do it with a, you know, with a wing nut or bolt through, like punch a hole through there. So all I have to do is put like a cotter pin or something like that. And that way I could, you know, from anywhere where I could stick the pole up in there. And then if it's, you know, if it's long enough with my current scaffolding, I should be able to, you know, with the ladder or whatever, just go and attach that pole. Attach the other one and the other one and the other one, and then actually even the same for the bottom. Maybe I can have my fabricator guy do that. The idea would be to make this, that's right, it can't be a total square. So yeah, so it would be, the pole would go down to a pipe that would go forward and then across and then back, or I'm gonna have to draw that out. But anyway, so that was my initial thing. It was like, hey man, you know what you could do? You could put pipes in there and then just insert that thing, so you didn't have to like try and make it, then try and lift the whole thing up there. I couldn't do that. So that would be an impossibility one. Not with the current stuff that I have here, you know, in my possession. And that's the whole idea. I try and do it myself with what I have in my possession. Oh, that's right. What else I did today? I was trying to think of what took up my time. So I had got my motorbike here, my Wave. The speedometer lights didn't work, and only gear 1 and 2 light showed, but the, you know, of course, turn signal lights worked and the bright light and the headlights and stuff. But to read the speedometer itself, these white lights around there didn't turn on, and gears 3 and 4 didn't turn on. So I had picked up a handful of those little light bulbs, and I took all this. This is the only assembly. You can take this off, pop this off really easy. You could take this off or remove the light by taking the light adjustment, you know, the beam adjustment out. But if you do it right, you can leave that beam adjustment bolt in there, and then just take 4 screws, one down here, one up here on both sides, and then, you know, pop this off. Actually, this comes off pretty easy. Show you this. Like that. Oh, it's just got 2 clips in the center one. Actually, there's supposed to be a blue one, but the blue one stays in there. But yeah, so it pops. It came out pretty easy, and then I had to do that anyway to look at stuff. But so I replaced all the bulbs, and then they all work great. But there was no map, right? So when I replaced all the bulbs, I was like, and I went through the gears and I was checking the lights. Oh yeah, so it looks all good, it's all lit up. And then I took off down the roadway or my driveway to check it out, and then it didn't seem like it was going in 4th gear, or the 4th gear light was out. But before I came back, I realized what I did was I moved the damn bulb sequence up one. So basically neutral was first was second was third was actually 4th. So there was no 4th gear light I was looking for, because it was actually there. So I had to go back and take that stuff off again, pop it all off again, and then move all the light bulbs, pop them out, and put them back in. So I worked on that for a bit, did my bamboo, did that, went to global, blah, blah, blah. So it just basically took the wind out of my day in terms of lifting that metal thing up there today. I also got up on the deck today to try and, you know, I was trying to gear up to look at what was I going to do, what are the challenges, how I can get my ladder up here. And there are some challenges with my wood up there that I'll share later. But anyway, this is a busy day, kind of busy enough to thwart my plans to put that damn metal thing up there, because I'm gonna need all day to do that. It seems like it's easy, but it's not. And I gotta take my time, breathe deep, and it'll be fine. Speaking of which, I did breathe quite easy today. Haven't had any problems after hitting that pop twice with my steroid one. That's a blessing. But we are going to the Quitio Festival again tonight. We went night before last, and most of the music is all like student bands and stuff, so it's kind of, you know, you love student bands for a little while. And then but tonight's Friday night. Last night I thought tonight was like when they usually have opening ceremony. I thought it would be on a Friday night, but no, it was last night, and they had fireworks and stuff, and we missed it. So tonight, but usually like the weekend parts, and it'll go for 10 days I think, but the weekends they usually probably have the, you know, some good bands or whatever, cool music. So we're gonna go back over tonight and we will eat dinner over there, same as before. They have some killer desserts, of which sugar's my favorite. All right, man. Well, hey, hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned, because tomorrow I'm gonna get that thing up there come hell or high water. All right, man. Thanks for watching. Keep watching. More action coming off the Dye Farm. Back at you.